Today we are not going to have a very long puja, but there are certain things which we have to understand from the life of Christ. Christ was born in a very poor conditions just to show that spirituality can live in any circumstances and under any problems. And he had to face so much opposition from his own clan. He was born in a Jew family, and that time the Jews would not accept him. But they did not kill him. That's the main point we should understand. They did not kill him. Under no law, a multitude can kill. It's the judge, who was a Roman judge from the Roman Empire, who actually ordered his death. It is very difficult to follow his life because he was absolutely a divine personality. Absolutely. And that's why whatever rules and regulations he has passed for the Christians are really very difficult to follow. Very difficult. I don't think very few people are even able to follow his life. It's very difficult. Because he said that if you commit any adultery with your eyes, you better take out. You cut your hand if you do any crime with it. For him, the crime was also a very subtle thing. Turn your left cheek if somebody slaps you on the right cheek. To follow this kind of a difficult, very, very difficult thing was impossible. And also he said that you have to do it, not others. He lived for such a short time. He visited India and stayed here. I've read a book about it. I was surprised that in the Puranas is written very clearly in Sanskrit language, which perhaps the writer didn't understand. And where Shalivahana, my forefathers, he met him and he said to him that, what is your name? He said, my name is Isa Masih, and I've come to this country because my country is full of mlechas. Mlech means malaich. Those have only tendencies toward collecting filth. So he said, but what are you doing here? You go back to your own country and teach them the Nirmala Paramatatvam. It's very surprisingly he used these words so clearly. So the whole thing was printed in Sanskrit. Perhaps the writer never understood what was in Sanskrit language. And then he said you can only go and reform them and you can clear them. But look at it. He tried to do the good and people crucified him. If you see to the Christian religion now, you don't know what to say about it. They have been always opposing Sahaja Yoga, and also they have never tried to understand that Christ has said that I will send you the Holy Ghost. Also, some Sahaja Yogis who are supposed to be coming from Christian conditioning stick to that. Now no more, there is no Christ. Of course, we accept that it was very important for him to come on this earth and to help us out. The steps on which you are, you have to leave that step to go out to the higher steps. That doesn't mean you should not worship Christ. You should worship. But it is not the way some people are still very much fond of sticking on to it, while he is the one who prepared you for Sahaja. ये बंद करा इधर वाला बच्चों तो दूर करूँ टाका टूट है. I don't know what you can adapt from his life. He was the greatest Sahaja Yogi, but he had so many powers which are difficult for human beings to have. But his sacrifice, his adjustments, acceptance of whatever was told to him, he accepted. His love for his mother, and on the cross he said, "Behold the mother." He just said, "Behold the mother." Whatever it is, we have to know also that Bible is not completely representing Christ, as it has happened with every book. So there are problems, and as in every religion, people have gone astray from their right path and are spoiling the name of the people who have been divine and who started those religions. Also is happened in the Christian nation. Just the opposite of what Christ has said, their behavior. For us, one has to realize that he came on this earth to open our Agya Chakra, which is a very difficult thing. Sahasrara is not difficult as Agya. Agya Chakra is a very constricted chakra on which he resides. And he has said, you have to forgive yourself and forgive others. This is the mantra of the Agya Chakra. That is, in the Bijakshara, we call it Ham Ksham. Ksham is to forgive others. Ham is to forgive yourself. These are the two Bijaksharas are used for Agya Chakra opening. To open the Agya Chakra, best is to go into thoughtless awareness. To be in thoughtless awareness, Agya can open. But Agya, if it is closed, it can be very dangerous, and can harm you or harm others. Sometimes people who are possessed also get those possessions in their Agya Chakra, and they start acting according to the dictation of these horrible evil forces within them. As a result, these evil forces take over. And we don't know why such a person is behaving in this manner. Now, as we know that in America, they have been doing lots of research, these genes, they're talking about so many things which they never talked about. Despite that, all the horrible, terrible diseases are coming back with vengeance. They can't understand why it is happening. With all this research, with all this work, people are getting very sick, and it is beyond them to understand why these things are happening. The main thing is you have to be under the protection of spirituality, under the protection of morality, under the protection of divine laws. If you are not under that protection, you can get caught up into anything. America especially, I find, is gone really amok as far as religion is concerned. They have all kinds of religions. They have even religions of the devil, religions of the witchcraft, every sort of religion they have. Though they have advanced so much in science, they are living in terror all the time. Firstly, one must accept that morality is what Christ has taught us, of a very deep, essential nature, very deep. He said, "Thou shalt not have adulterous eyes." Even in the eyes, there should not be adultery. You look at one woman, all right. Second time, if you look at that woman, then you are adulterous. Such strict rules he has passed about his own idea of a moral personality. Now, as you are Sahajogis, you are already quite equipped. You are quite equipped. And you can follow his principles easily than other people can. But still, some things I have to tell you. As Christ has said, that I will tolerate everything against me, but nothing against the Holy Ghost. It's a very remarkable thing to say. He is the ocean of forgiveness, and there he says, everything I will tolerate, but nothing against the Holy Ghost. So many things are happening. So many things are happening which amazes people. For example, here only in Ganpati Pune, there was one funny fellow who came up with some sort of a opposition to surgery, and he got hold of the village man called as the Mamlatdar, means he's an officer, and both of them combined together started troubling us. Just before our coming 10 days, this Mamlatdar was suspended. Nobody could understand. How was he suspended suddenly? How, what happened? Like that is this is Christ. It's his work, Ganesha's work, left and right. So many people. I am not bothered about it. I don't want anybody to be destroyed. But it is they who are trying to destroy all those who come in the way of search. And it is very amazing how things are happening and how it is working out. So we should have no fear at all. If people oppose us, they try to do anything, suddenly you'll find some solution will come out and you'll be amazed at it. So many things happen like that and have been happening all over. And I have so many letters from people saying how they have been helped by our Lord Jesus Christ. I don't have to tell them. They know their job very well. But as Sir Yogis, what should we have as our code of conduct? It's very important. As they call Achar Sanhita. The first thing in today's modern Saj Yoga, you have to know that you have to recognize me. That is very important. Very humbly, I have to tell you. You have to recognize me and you have to respect me and love me. If in these words, if I can explain to you, that you cannot have a double life. You cannot show love and another side you try to trouble me. First thing is that so far there has been no mass realization. No mass realization. And when there is no mass realization, we cannot blame the people if they did not recognize these incarnations. Because without realization, how can they recognize? But after mass realization, if you do not recognize, then it's a serious thing. You should not be addicted to your previous nonsensical stuff that you had. In the same like there are Hindus. If I tell them that now finish with all these temples and this fasting and all those Brahminic nonsense, they don't like it. You have to. Now you have become saints. For saints, there is no caste, no community, no race. Anyway, you tell to anyone, they don't like it. If you tell it to Jains, they won't like. If you tell it to Buddhists, they won't like. They just want to stick on to the old style which their forefathers have been doing so far. So recognition only doesn't mean that you recognize me as Adi Shakti. But recognition means that in every part of your life, you should know that I am with you. Disciplining in Sahaja Yoga has to be automatic. I don't have to tell you about disciplining. But it doesn't work out, then I have to tell you. Now, the first discipline is that you have to recognize me and respect me. Then the second discipline is you have to learn how to be a Sahaja Yogi. Think of Christ. If he's sitting here, how would he behave towards me, or he would behave towards others who are here? Very difficult for him to accept any kind of nonsense from anyone. He would not tolerate. I don't mind many things. I say, all right, gradually it will be solved and things will be all right. But what I find that still there are so many Sahajogis who don't really realize the responsibility that they have. He carried the cross. Now in Sahajoga, you don't have to carry cross. You have to wear only garlands. But you must be worthy of garlands. Nobody has to suffer. Everything is made very well for them, paved with gold, as they say. But only thing you should know how to walk on that. So the second point, as I said, that you should not have a double personality. Single dedication. You need not be 24 hours in it. You have your own families, you have your own children, you have your life. With that, you have to be all the time connected, but not to get so much involved that you harm the collectivity of Sahajoga. Your relations, brothers, sisters, mother, father, they are all right. But your main responsibility is Sahajoga. Instead of that, you get involved into these things, you will definitely harm the collectivity of Sahajoga and create a politics out of it. The second discipline is that your relationship is only with Sahajogis and with nobody else. This is very important. This is what I have to tell you very clearly, that nobody is important but Sahajogis. Of course, you have to meet others, you have to talk to others, you have to deal with them, you have to bring them to Sahajoga, that is there, no doubt. But you cannot let down a Sahajoga. Among yourself, if you have differences, sort them out. And when you are outside, then you should appear as one. If you know the truth, there should be no differences. Why should there be differences? If there are differences, then you should find out that something is wrong with you, definitely. And what is wrong is that you are self-centered, or you are worried about something which is not such. Even to follow my example may be difficult. Now I have my children, I have my grandchildren. I never telephone to them. Never. As it is, I never telephone to them. I'm never bothered. I see my husband so much worried about them, always telephones to them. Firstly, I know they are all right. Firstly, I know I have done my duty. And I'm not going to waste my life only on my children or on my husband or on my family, because my family is the whole universe. So you have to expand. Sahajogis have to expand themselves. If they are just interested in their own family, in their own children, in their own properties, it's going to be very difficult. So this self-centeredness has to go. This self-centeredness has to go completely. And you have to have a very wider vision of life. समोर ठेवा त्यांची खुर्ची, ते बस स्टँड आहेत वरती, समोर तिकडे खाली स्टेज. This is a very big compulsion for us as Sahajogis, that we belong to the family of the universe. So, just like in the marriages now, we started saying, I don't want to marry an Indian. Some Indians say, I don't want to marry a foreigner. If you are so small minded, you should not ask for marriage. You should not ask me that I should marry. Because we have to transcend completely all these petty ideas about our own religion, about our own race, about our own country. If you cannot do it, you are not a surgeon. From your heart, you must expand. That is very important. Thus, the problem in India is of, say, caste system, which is, I can't understand. I've told 100 times that in the Gita, it's described that in everybody resides the spirit. So how can you have caste? But you can have according to your aptitude. That's different. But you cannot have caste according to birth. There's so many examples to prove that. But in India, we have this curse of caste system. And in the West, is even worse is the racialism. It's such a horrible thing called Vaishalism. For example, I went to Romania and I saw so many gypsies there. They are treated just like dogs. So low they were looked upon. These gypsies are really nice people. Nothing wrong with them. At least their character is good. They have certain principles for their women and they lead a good life of morality. They are collective people. But they are treated so badly, so shabbily, that even in India I won't find that kind of a thing happening. Racialism. Now Romanians have no particular race as such. You cannot say they are Germans or English or Anglo-Saxons, nothing. I was surprised there more than anywhere else. Also in England the same thing. They are treated very badly. And these are people of great art and very loving. And I was surprised that so many came to our program also. So the attention should be on a wider vision of life and towards the people who are suffering. It's very important. You must look after the people who are suffering, who are in trouble, who need your help. Not to make friends with people who will help you in money or in any other way, but be friendly with the people who are downtrodden. We have become Sahajogis to help them to come up. We have to do something for them. And in Vashi I am starting a center where the poor people will be treated freely. Though we are in the middle, we have to help the people who are not enjoying any benefit of life. We have to take them to Sahaja Yoga. We have to help them in every way that is possible. Now you must have noticed that in the wedding lists, what I have done is to create a balance between, say, the developing countries and the developed countries to make a proper exchange. Then I find there are people who are very arrogant about it. Now, English girls are supposed to be Christians, French girls are supposed to be Christians, and so many others. Christ, who did so much for the downtrodden, these people, when they get married, they try to show off and look down upon people. They are Sahajogis, and now we have turned down all the Christian girls from England because for the same reason. A funny type of a superiority complex if you develop. That's not being Christian at all. And that's why we have to understand as Sahajogis that one of the principles of Sahaja Yoga is that you should get over all these minor things and all these limitations from which We have been suffering and others have been suffering. When we come to this collective happening, we have to understand that people have to be collective. Because we should have big palaces where we can go and meditate, or we should have huge things. Not necessary. To pray and to meditate, any place is alright. Anywhere you are there, you can enjoy. You should enjoy that. You should not demand things. Like when you come to Ganpati Pune, I know it's not very comfortable, it's not even a 3-star hotel arrangement. But you enjoy each other and you love each other. And the company of every one of you is the comfort giving. What gives you comfort is the love, affection, and oneness, the unity between yourself. Then you don't care. You don't care what comforts you have, what happiness you have. This time, suddenly you know there were 250 more came than expected. So we had to put these temporary things for you. And you didn't mind. I'm very thankful to you for that. So, complete tolerance and comfort of the body is not important. Comfort of the spirit. If your body wants comfort, you try to make it learn to give up that. Try to make your body your slave and not you the slave of the body. This if you don't try, then in Sahaja Yoga you are nowhere. Because then you'll again say, I must have a beautiful car, then I must have a house, then I must have this, must have that. If you care for your body too much, then the spirit, the light of the spirit goes down. There's no glow on your face. And there's no peace in your mind. Because all the time you are worried about your body, about your comforts, about your food, about this, about that. You can leave all these things to the divine. What you have to do to see yourself, that in your behavior you should be honest, you should be spiritual, and you should be surrendering. That's your job. You have to see, am I surrendering or not? Am I fully with Sahaja Yoga or not? What have I done for Sahaja Yoga? What I should do for Sahaja Yoga? If you don't do this way, the mind will work the other way around. It will start thinking, oh, this is not good for my child, that's not good, this is this. Once you start thinking what I have to do for Sahaja Yoga, what I have to work out for Sahaja Yoga, how I have to spread Sahaja Yoga, you'll be surprised. Your mind will get into the aura of spirituality. And nobody has to tell you anything. It will just work automatically. You have the power, you have everything, you have the fountain which has to be opened up. So we come to another point, that we should realize what we are. This is very important for Sahaja Yoga. Christ has said, I am the Son of God. Alright? He said it openly. Though people crucified him for that. But he said it. He said it openly. I am the Son of God. Do what you like. Which was a fact, which was the truth he was supposed to say. So now as Sahaja Yogis have to say, I am the son or daughter of Adi Shakti. Once you say to yourself that, suddenly you will start changing, because it's a very big position. It's a very anointed position. Once you start saying that, Then you will start understanding what is your responsibility. You'll be amazed those people have been to wrong gurus. When they come to Sahaja Yoga, they become extremely generous and extremely dedicated, extremely humble, because they have suffered so much. Sometimes those who come directly do not have that feeling. What you have got, you know better when you have gone through some ordeals. But if you get it sahaj, then they don't understand. So we have to also introspect all the time. The first introspection is that am I humble? Can I humble down myself before anyone? That's very important. But temper is the worst thing. Krishna has said, from the temper everything bad starts. Temper starts from liver. So you can cure your liver. But temper, you can see yourself how your temper is bad and how you want to get rid of the temper. Temper will kill all the collectivity. Temper will blur all the beauty of spirituality. A person who is very hot tempered and talks of God, people will say, let's run away from this man. So the temper you have to get rid of. It's very important to introspect on what points you get angry. Some people think it's a matter of right for them to get angry. All right, but not in such. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to shout at anyone. You don't have to beat anyone. If there is any problem, you can tell me. But I've seen people fighting, quarreling sometimes, and I'm amazed how these people are quarreling among themselves. Gradually, I'm sure, as you'll grow in spirituality, all these fights and quarrels and what you call the different grouping ideas will drop out. But Sahaja Yoga will not allow you to stay in it. You will be exposed immediately. People will know about it. So try to understand why you get angry, why you have temper, what is the reason, what you don't like in other people may be within you. Same thing may be existing within you. So it's a cleansing process in Sahaja Yoga, which is very important, and we need the help of Christ very much. Because there is rationality that covers your agya. You can rationalize everything. Everything. Even if you kill somebody, you can rationalize it. So this agya is also our enemy if we cannot keep it open. Absolutely. Because we can justify ourselves. We can say, what can I do? It happened like that and this. Once you start get after yourself, all these things will go away. If you are getting angry very much, stand before the mirror and try to get angry with yourself. Then attachments. Attachments are very subtle. Formerly, what I had known about the Western Sahaja Yogis, they didn't love their children very much. Now I find they are glued to their children. And they want to move the whole movement of Sahaja Yoga according to the whims of their children. Also, Indian Sahaja Yogis are like that. They are very attached to their children. They have been always very attached to their children. I have already explained to you that attachment is the death of love. If you love somebody, then love everyone according to the need of that person. You have to move. You cannot just stick into one point. That is not your responsibility. That is the responsibility of the divine. and leave it to divine, and you will see your children will improve, your relationships will improve, everything will improve because it's not your responsibility. Your limitations will affect all these relations. And I should actually say that this limited relationship might also suffocate your relations. So I have a very wider vision and a wider understanding how far you are. If you come in the nature, you can learn it very well. See, the water is coming to all the trees, everyone is blessed. It doesn't stick to any one tree or anywhere. If it does that, the whole thing will be finished. If you have to think of collectivity, you have to be very much detached and not driven or persuaded into some sort of a small little relationships. It's much easier for you to follow Saju than anybody else in the world could have followed, because others were not realized souls. You are all realized souls. There are other attachments. Attachments to money. Very surprising. Like, they treat Sahaja Yoga sometimes like a shop or a market. So they'll say, Mother, can you make it half rate? Can you make it quarter rate? Can you give us some concession? Some sale, I said, see, there are at least 35% people are coming free. And those who can pay want to have half, less than half. Well, I don't know what to say to them. I mean, this is the only chance where you can really give some money, which is of course shared, I agree. It's not all that money is needed for one person, but you can share very easily with others because they don't have that much money to come to this country. They don't have that much money to live here. As we are talking about global life, we have to understand that we have to share money with them. If you start understanding only this much, I tell you, your attachment to money will go. That you have to share. You don't want to share anything. You may have crores, but you won't want to share. In Sahaja Yoga, so many people have become very rich, but they don't want to share. I'm not saying that we are here for money or anything, but main point is, fundamental point is, the attitude should be of sharing with others. Sahaja Yoga has given us so much. What have we done for it? Where are we sharing? On the other side, we have people who are very greedy, who want more. There are some people who go on borrowing money, some people who go on using people for their own purposes. All these petty nonsensical things are not for such use. You don't need. Whatever you need, you just ask, you will get it. So some people are trying to exploit some people, and some people are trying to save themselves. There should be an open mind. As your Sahasrara is open here, this is the heart chakra here. And this heart chakra opens, then the Sahasrara opens. Open your hearts. Open your hearts. Then only you can enjoy yourself. Now supposing I want to see something with my eyes, and my eyes are closed, can I see something and enjoy that? If you have to feel something from your heart is closed, how can you feel that? So open your heart. Open your heart. In this way, you will realize that things are not so difficult. It's all for us very easy. But we have to open our heart and respect each other. Sahaja must respect each other. Somebody is black, somebody is white, somebody is tall, somebody is short, somebody is like that. God has made a variety, otherwise we would have been all like a regimentation. So we should enjoy the variety. That brings the beauty of creation. So all these outward things should not in any way impress you. People should be clean, neat, tidy. That's different. But everybody should be like you is wrong. In India, especially, if you speak English not very correctly, then he is condemned as a scheduled caste. Means such slavish mentality, very slavish. Whether you know your language or not, your mother tongue or not, Hindi or not, doesn't matter. You must know English. If somebody says English, it's finished. Well, I've seen Japanese, Chinese, French, anyone else speaks horrible, funny English, I should say. But the words are the English themselves. English have lost the sense of English completely. But what's so much in that? Is nothing but a slavish mentality to one regime which was here for 300 years and did nothing good to themselves. Went empty-handed from here. Even the Christians in India believe that Christ was born in England. Do you believe that? Most of them. So the essence of our life is to be proud of whatever country we are born of. We must love our own country. But we should not identify with it. All the wrongs of that country we should criticize and we should see. We should not accept them and should not become a part and parcel of those absurd people who have their limitation. Do you transcend your countries? You transcend all these limitations. You have become great now. How can you remain in a small little pond? You need an ocean. You will get suffocated. Another thing is, we should not use things made by machines so much. Try to avoid as far as possible. These machines have created so many problems for us. We should wear something that is made by hand or by people who are using small little you can call ordinary machines, which does not require so much of smoke to come out. We should be very conscious of ecological problems as surgeons. But one thing I know, where there are surgeries, the ecological problem also gets solved because of vibrations. But vibrations will only fight when you are willing to fight ecology. Everywhere you go, you find so much of pollution. How to fight this pollution? Is to be paying attention to the ecology. Are we producing all those things which is spoiling the atmosphere? We are responsible. We have to do it. Who is going to do it? So one side, as I told you, we have to look after the people who are poorer than us. who are unfortunate. We have to look after the atmosphere, which is filled with all nonsensical things, and take to a lifestyle which lifestyle will be simpler, by which we don't use uh, so many vehicles and so many things which are creating problems. Like in Dehradun, they told me they have so many of these three wheelers that the buses have stopped. Why? Because in the three wheeler you pay some money less, so they go by three wheeler and it creates all the black soot all over. A Sahajogi should never sit in a three wheeler to save some money. It's better to walk or use a vehicle which doesn't give much of these things. There are so many ways by which we can really be very supportive of this ecological problem, because it is a part of our responsibility. Till the age of 47, I was wearing only pure khadi, not even silk. Till the age of 47. Then when this sasrara was broken, then I started wearing other clothes. Our life should be such that we should feel sensitive to every growth around us. It is only your attention, how you put your attention to things. Like now, there are so many new things are coming up in India. Everywhere. One day, I told somebody that why don't you get some quail from Germany? He said, I don't know, there is quail in Germany. I said, there's a big industry of quails. What do you say? So how do you know, mother? I said, I know. Once I go to a country, I know everything about that. All the details about it. Well, I was surprised that such a big industry they had, they never knew they had quails. In the same way, in our own country, we don't know what we have, what artistic things we have, what is the one that will help the poor. We never know about it. Why Christ was born in those conditions? Because he wanted to give blessings to those poor people, to help them with spirituality. But we are not bothered. We are not bothered to see where the poverty is and how we can help. You can, by all means, you can help them in every corner, in every way. It's very simple to understand about your own country where the problem is, why people are poor and we cannot help them. We have to take to this. Unless and until your light shines in the society, we are doing nothing. We are just enjoying our own Sajoga, Ganpati Pune and all that. But what about others? So sensitivity to art, sensitivity to music, sensitivity to all creative things that are there. And what can we do with these creative things for others? The attention should be more towards these things than about useless things. Politics, you shouldn't worry so much. It will be all exposed and finished and it will be all done. Let them fight, let them do what they like. The stupid people. Your attention should be how you can be creative, how you can help people, what you can do. In everything, there's one thing is love. What you call is compassion, anukampa. Just out of love and affection. And that should be a real innate expression of every Sahajogi in every field of life. I don't like this, I don't like that. This kind of a person is never a Sahajogi. The one who says, I like it. My throat was not all right, but somebody brought some fruit. Just to please, I ate it. Doesn't matter what. Little bit I did it. Just to please you, I wore such a heavy sari. You know, none of you can wear it, I can tell you. Just to please you. So what are we doing to please others? You should be a pleasing personality instead of thinking about how you should be pleased. I don't like this, I don't like that. Instead of what have I done to please others? To please the divine. Our character, our behavior should be absolutely clean. I know Sajogis have done wonders and they are doing very well. But they can do much, much, much more than what they are doing. So on this day of Christ's birthday, I have to tell you that it is not possible to follow his life, I agree. Very difficult. But at least one has to learn from him that he is before us